Hello and welcome to another episode of Purina's Ambassador Live. I'm Kurt Schultz. We're here at the Purina Animal Nutrition Center in Gray Summit, Missouri, and we just spent a pretty cool hour and a half doing some research here on our lake, doing some sampling just to see how our fish are growing and our fish population's doing. So I'm here with our Aqua Ambassador, Mr. Bob Lusk, editor of Pond Boss magazine, and there you go. A good friend and a big part of what we do in aqua research out here. And the thing I like about Bob, whenever I call Bob or talk to him on the phone or see you in person, I say, Bob, how you doing?
I'm still leading a pretty cool life.
A pretty cool life. So everybody has a story, and I think we all enjoy hearing people's stories. And you've got a pretty neat story. So you are a fisheries biologist.
Yes.
You lead a pretty cool life.
I lead a very cool life.
You live on water.
I do.
And tell us just kind of how you got started as a kid, interested in fish, and how your career took you to where you're at.
Well, in August of 1969, Kurt, my parents bought a little place on the Brazos River west of Fort Worth, where I grew up. Grew up in Fort Worth. And that was the same month that they flooded and pounded Lake Granbury. So I got to roam around the basin of Lake Granbury before it had water in it, and then downstream from there was our place. And I learned every rock, every laydown, every sandbar, every boulder, a mile upstream and downstream, and I was fascinated with how the fish behaved. We'd go out all hours of the night. I just came in to eat and sleep. Otherwise, I was in the river, and I was so fascinated with the way the fish behaved, I just thought, I'm going to make a living messing with fish one of these days. So we fast forward 52 years from then, and I'm in my 42nd year as a private fisheries biologist.
Wow.
Helping.
And you're back on the Brazos. I
Yeah,
went to your house
yeah.
when you lived in Whitesboro, Texas. It was a pretty neat place,
Yes.
a lot of little lakes on it and all of that, but now you've moved back.
Well, here's the deal. We lived near Whitesboro for 37 years, but man, I just had this yearning to get back to that river. So about a year ago, my wife and I bought a home on the Brazos River, 5 miles as the crow flies from that place we had. And now we're getting it all dolled up because we got 13 grandkids, and I really want those grandkids to have a chance to skip rocks, trap minnows, kayak, go fishing, and play in the river. Now, I don't think it'll ever lead to a career, but who knows?
Yeah.
But I can't wait to share it even more with the grandkids. And we're about there for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And another cool part of your story is actually how you came into contact with Purina and became one of our Aqua Ambassadors.
Yeah. Pond Boss magazine was born in 1992. So we're now in our 30th year of publication. We go out to subscribers in like 42 states and 5 or 6 different countries. And Pond Boss is dedicated to people that want to be better stewards of their land and water with a focus on ponds and lakes. Well, back in 1995, we had a small subscriber base, and I thought, we really need a national advertiser. So we just wrote a letter to Purina Mills. Didn't know who to send it to the marketing department. 4 days later, got a phone call from Brad Shue, and he says, hey, we'd like to meet up with you guys. We're coming to the Fort Worth plant. So we met up with them. Took them to a lake that I managed at that time, took them fishing, had fun, put them in the electrofishing boat, and let them see what the fish looked like that they didn't catch. Then we broke bread, had some great conversations. The next day we went to a little barbecue joint in Glen Rose, Texas, and Gordon Ballum looked me right in the eye and he says, Bob, we want to help this industry. Part of our mission is to do R&D and develop new products. What can you guys use? What can we do better? I said, we can buy fish food off the shelf, but it's not a high protein feed, or it doesn't suit the fishery because we want to feed fish from this big to this big to this big to this big. Can you change the sizes of the pellets? And we're eating ribs on butcher paper, and I could see the light go off in Ballum's head and Brad Shue's head. They start talking your language, dyes and extrusion methods and things. And about 5 or 6 weeks later, I had a pallet of unmarked bags of what became game fish chow. And one of my favorite things about Purina Mills is you guys are looking at the nutrition side. You're not trying to shave costs here and cut this out there. You want to figure out the best nutrition that you can for those animals. And through dialogue since 1995 back and forth, and then becoming an ambassador, I'm in the outside your business, being able to give input inside the business. And I appreciate that because Purina makes the best products out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw evidence. They grow big fish.
So we're 4 years into this research lake, and we've electrofished it 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
And we tagged some fish last year, and when we caught them again this year, and we're seeing phenomenal growth.
Yeah.
So the feed is making a difference.
Yes.
A lot of people make fish food. So what do you think the difference is between Purina Aquamax and the other stuff that's out there?
Well, it's proven. It's proven. I've grown bluegill over 3 pounds on Aquamax. You know, I've grown lots of bluegill over 2 pounds. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody they can grow a 3-pound bluegill because you got to work at that feed. But feed is a key part. But it's a proven entity. I've watched it. I've watched how the fish eat it. I've watched how the fish grow on it, and it's performance based, and and I'm in the results business. If I don't get the results, then I get fired or not called back. I might get a Christmas card, but I'm not going back. You know, so the products have proven themselves over a long period of time.
Yeah, yeah, and a big part of building and maintaining a lake is obviously managing the water and the habitat around it.
That's right.
But supplemental feeding is a key issue if you really want to grow big fish and you really want to see the kind of results that we're seeing here on this lake. Good supplemental feeding makes a big difference.
Key on the word supplemental, because 99.9% of the ponds that people have, they want to enhance and encourage, not make the fish dependent on fish food. So supplemental feeding program in the right environment is a wise way to go. We want to look at water quality, make sure we have happy water. That's what I call it, happy water, great habitat for those fish, great food chain, and that's where the feed really kicks in and helps enhance the food chain for the game fish. You know, then we also always talk about genetics and then a harvest plan. You know, this lake is now to the point where it's matured to the level that fish need to be harvested. So you guys are going to have to go fishing.
Oh, well, we like that.
Yeah.
So, Bob, it's been a great relationship with you. I'm glad you wrote that letter to marketing. I'm glad we're working together.
Me too.
And we're doing some pretty cool stuff.
Yes.
And you live a pretty cool life. And
it's fun.
Whenever I'm with you, it's a pretty cool time.
It's pretty fun, man.
So
Thanks for letting me
enjoy it.
hang out. This is
Hey,
fun.
we enjoy it. So, hey, if you got a lake at home and you want to grow big fish, I would recommend you subscribe to Pond Boss magazine. You can go to pondboss.com and do that. You can go to purinamills.com, hit products, go to Aqua, find out about all our Aqua products, or go to your local Purina dealer. They are the experts right there in your hometown. Thanks for joining us.